Hey guys, this week we're going to talk about big data. And I know this can seem a little conspiracy theorist or overwhelming at times because it is a big topic, not to be punny. But big data is important when you think about the digital realm and how your information is being used. I also linked a YouTube video in our module, so make sure to kind of watch that. It breaks down big data statistically in a easy way to understand it. And then I'm going to go over just a few things that kind of help expand on what that video talks about. So, to begin with, what is big data? Um, First of all, it's just really big data sets that are looking for certain types of patterns or behavioral um, information about different population segments or target audiences. Basically, your information is harvested when you visit websites or when you scroll on social media or you Google something. And then different marketing companies, the government, um, whoever has the money to buy that data can use it to track you, track your interests, and then predict what you might be looking for in the future when you get on your phone or the internet. It also is just this idea of building up algorithms. So, an algorithm has to have something to learn off of, whether that be like TikTok or Google ads or Facebook ads or even something like ChatGPT. It has to have something that it learns from. And so, these big data sets is how it does that. When you get down into it specifically, it really wants to know how we are connected to the internet. Are we using our mobile devices? What are we searching? How are we streaming things? What are we streaming? Do we have anything in our home connected? What is our smartwatch telling us about our body? Different things like that. And so all of this information is collected. It is given out to those who want to buy it. And then that information is then synthesized, put into an algorithm, and it gives you personalized viewing options, shopping suggestions, ads, all sorts of things that potentially make you think that you have better choices or better decisions when you're looking at something, when really it's been personally made for you or your target audience. Sometimes it can be a little creepy, especially if you are um, talking about something with somebody or texting, and then all of a sudden you see an ad for it. That's just how it works. So they're always kind of listening or watching in some aspect. And I say they as in marketers, the government, lots of entities. Um, so there are two parts to this. There's big data and then there's machine learning AI. Again, they have to have these big data sets to really learn from and to help guide your viewing or purchasing decisions. And the more information that they get, the more specified it can become. So they're always evolving, they're always learning, they're always adapting. When we think about big data, there are three different categories that really come to mind um, when we break it down, and that is volume, velocity, and variety. So the first one, volume. Volume is basically just how organizations collect your data, where they're getting it. They look at multiple sources on how to do this. So, for instance, if you're Google, you can collect from Google locations, Google Hangouts, your Google search bar. If you have a Google phone, your text messages, and all of that data is collected. And then it's given to advertisers or people within Google to help make decisions regarding what you're interested in, what you're looking for, what you're talking about. And this goes for any kind of website that you go to. It's kind of what cookies are about as well to see what your browsing history and preferences are. And so this is the first one. It's basically how we collect all of that data. Now, the second one is velocity. And this is basically at what speed this data is taken with and or collected and then used. And so basically, it's just data is everywhere all the time. And So really the timing of when they collect this data is really important. Say if you do a lot of online shopping right before you go to bed, they want to collect that information and then they want to um, give you ads that are similar to that when you're scrolling Facebook before you go to bed. Then you have variety, and this data comes in all sorts of formats. Um, it can be structured, it can be unstructured, it can be you know, data that is personalized. It can be just demographic, like the fact that I am a white female who has a family that lives in Texas, or it can be more personalized in the fact that I am a Disney adult, I am a researcher, I'm a professor, I am a mother. And so all of these different formats can be very specific or very generalized depending on what the marketer or the website is trying to collect. Now, unstructured data comes in a few forms. This is what you usually see on social media. So that's photos, tweets, any video content, comments, anytime you post something, blogs. All of this is qualitative data, meaning that there's lots of information that goes into it. There's images, there's text, there's audio, lots of things. Then you have structured data, and this is more for computer systems. It's more organized, and this is more numeric in a sense. So it'll be phone numbers, social security numbers, zip codes, addresses, your IP address, and time. So this is very number heavy, so it's quantitative data. This is kind of just to break down even more of what they look like. So structured data can be displayed in rows, columns, and databases. It's a lot of numbers and dates. Um, it requires less storage and it's easier to manage versus unstructured cannot be displayed in rows, columns, or data because it is lots of different information. It's going to be about 80% of the data that is collected. It requires a lot more storage and it's more difficult to manage and like sort through. But you need both of these to really understand what consumers are looking at and searching for on the internet. So with big data, you have to learn how to analyze it. And that's where data analytics come in. And that's kind of a little bit more of what the other video I linked is about. But basically, this is the activity or the process that you use to go through large volumes of data and then how you make meaningful insights. You find patterns, and then you use those things to make decisions or to give suggestions. And there's lots of ways to look at data and to analyze it, but it depends on what you're looking for specifically. Types of data analytics, we have descriptive and diagnostic, as well as predictive and prescriptive. So the big difference is that descriptive and diagnostic are from past information. And so they are collecting data as it's going, and then they take that data and they make predictive and prescriptive analytics from it. So descriptive is what has happened, diagnostic is why it happened, predictive is what will happen, and prescriptive is what should be done. So basically, what are you Googling? Why are you Googling it? What will you Google in the future because of it? And what should we make as your targeted ads or suggested Q&As for Google going forth? So when we think about big data, they collect it, they store it, they process it, and then they analyze it. This is where they find the patterns for everything. And this is really where we get what is going to be popular in pop culture or what you are going to be searching for. This is why big data can be somewhat creepy sometimes because they're really good at predicting and finding these patterns by looking at all of the things that you are looking at and doing on the internet. One of the things you should be aware of is that if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. Meaning that anytime you go to a website and you agree to the cookies, the terms and conditions, whatever, you are being monitored and your information is being collected. That collection of data is then going to be turned into some kind of advertisement for you. So what can people with information such as big data do with it? Well, they can calculate risk of different things. So if people are searching for different types of things, whether that be, how to build a bomb, or what is the risk of getting the flu this year, or even just things like, if I buy this kind of car, will it break down? Those kinds of things. Problem solving, looking up how to do things on Google. Marketing, are you looking to buy something? Detecting fraud. So this is where if you get a call from your bank and it says, hey, we declined this purchase because it looks like you're in Arizona, but the purchase was in New York, then, there's this disconnect. And then, of course, customer service. If they are finding that data shows that people are dissatisfied or satisfied, they can react accordingly. Of course, though, one of the biggest applications for big data is social media marketing. And we are bombarded with advertisements on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok Shop, whatnot, Google Ads. You are getting ad after ad after ad, YouTube, all these things. And those ads are specified directly for you because of your big data. So sometimes this data can be used to convert social media users into influencers because they're seeing that these people have a following. They're getting lots of engagement on their videos. They're becoming well acquainted with people that see them on their For You page a lot. And so therefore businesses can really identify the most effective platform, the most effective time, format, and person to get their advertisements across. So for instance, TikTok's algorithm, it's changed with a few things since the servers have been brought over to the US, at least for the US part of it. But this is basically what happens. It uses machine learning or an algorithm to determine what content is going to be on your For You page and what you are most likely to engage with. Sometimes they ask you if you like the content or not. Sometimes they ask you if you've seen certain things because they want to make sure that their machine is learning correctly. But most of the time, it's really done organically. It starts out by showing 8 popular videos when you sign up. From there, or when you log in, then the algorithm defines whether you liked those videos or how long you watched them, and it finds similar videos. Once it started collecting enough data, it really decides what you like and what you dislike. Then it uses machine learning to really cluster those videos. And then it allowed its logic to avoid redundancies. And this is kind of where we've seen the problem when they brought the servers for the US specific TikTok over, is that when it first came over, we were seeing a lot of repeated videos. We were seeing videos that you had already liked, things like that. And so I think they fixed it somewhat, but there's still some issues. You also have things like CNN can take data and they can create what's called an early warning system for breaking news via Twitter or their app or their website. It really uses that data to create an algorithm that identifies and alerts people about key information in real time, especially things that they're following or interested in. However, more infographic and demographic information is needed for this. And sometimes it's just information after information after information. And it can be a little overwhelming. But it does distill a lot of big data sets and presents them in smaller subsets, which is stories, graphs, videos, things like that. Big data can also be used in health. Cerner, which is a blood analysis program, it looks at the probability of a person and if they're going to have an infection in their bloodstream. It has helped St. John develop what is called a sepsis agent based on that algorithm. And it really just looks at your temperature and your heart rate and your blood pressure, and is this person going to have sepsis, or if they are not going to have sepsis, depending on that. So, although a lot of it is based on what we're doing and trying to advertise to us, it can also be beneficial like this or with CNN. And finally, you have something like Southwest, where they look at real time data of social media in order to provide feedback with their customers. Whether that be like people are looking for flights or if they're complaining about like American Airlines canceled their flight. Um, and then they determine where you are when you need to go somewhere, and they open up new branches or they open up new flights, different things like that. So here are just a few examples of how big data is used in different areas, and an overall view of what big data is and how companies are using it to um, market to you.